Okay, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing today? It's a pleasure to have you here. Okay, I said good afternoon, but it might be morning where you are, or it might be evening. Well, depending on the time that you're watching this, good day. How are you doing? Great. So we're going to look at a couple of instruments here based on what is happening in the world. And today is the 5th of October, right? And of course, we've been having some crazy news come out. We had the latest one about the President of the United States and his coronavirus status. He tested positive, and the implications of that on the equities and on also the US dollar and so on. So based on all what that we have here, from what we can see here, we're going to quickly talk about a couple of other things as well. And another key thing now is that we should also know where to get all of this information from, right? All of this information, we get them from different places. Like we have the Forex Factory, right? You have the forexfactory.com where you can get this news from. You also have places like Forex Live. You have the centralbanknews.info for you to get information on central bank news. You have Newsquick, Zero Hedge, different websites where you can get all of this information from. Now, some of the key ones that I normally like to pay attention to is Forex Factory, and I want to believe a lot of us are conversant with Forex Factory. First of all, I like to take note of the high impact news that we have for the day, like this one, which will be coming out in about 30 minutes from now, which has to do with the manufacturing PMI, the non-manufacturing PMI for the US dollar. And also, of course, in China, we have bank holiday today, right? What are they even celebrating? Let's click on details here to get more information on that. Let's wait for it to pop up. Sorry, since my internet. Come on, guys. Okay, great. So just clicked on it now, and then it's giving us information on they're observing National Day in China. I believe that should be today and tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So come to Forex Factory just to get information on what we might be expecting that might move the market significantly, like the news coming up by 3 p.m. Then, other than that, on that Forex Factory as well, we also go over to the news section. Going over to the news section, we'll be able to see the news that has come out that, of course, is going to have a positive or negative effect on the market. Now, just looking at the headlines alone will let us know what is happening. If you look to this section here, we can see I'm self-isolating until tomorrow morning. Who is this? This is the EU president, von der Leyen, I believe I got her name correct. She's self-isolating after coming in contact with someone who tested positive to the coronavirus, and that is B. Of course, this comes after the news on Friday, last week Friday, that was the 2nd of October, where we got the information that Donald Trump, his wife, and also Mike Pence as well, they all caught the coronavirus. And well, it seems now like the news we're getting is that Donald Trump seems to be improving, right? So good. Of course, that is good for the US and the equities as well, right? So we should see some appreciation in the stocks. Then the UK plan for harsher three-tier lockdowns, right? That is also big. For the UK, with respect to pounds, they've been coming under some heat of late with respect to the internal market bill, right, which it goes against the internal law. And of course, EU, they're not smiling on that. And of course, they have been having meetings back to back. I believe over the weekend, the EU president and also Boris Johnson had meetings with respect to, coming up with a proper deal that will favor both parties. But for now, it still seems like it is a deadlock. It still seems like it's a deadlock scenario, right? But let's see how that goes. But as we said earlier, from the headlines, we would already have a rough idea on the risk tone that we have, right? Whether most likely we're expecting it to be bearish or bullish, but this pound, we're expecting it to be bearish, and that is for the pounds based on what we have here. But then if you look at your charts, right? Let's cross over to the charts now. If you look at your charts on the MetaTrader, this here is a pound, and then if you look at the pounds, right, Price tends to move in boxes. If you look very well, you can see there was a box here showing consolidation, and then we had a bigger one showing consolidation here. And from Friday and today, we had another one consolidation here. But if you look again closely, you see that now we're having a breakout of this smaller consolidation. So we could have the market pull back to this smaller consolidation, push higher, and then test the bigger one, and then push higher some more. From what we have over here, right, this shows that the pound is getting stronger against the US dollar, right? This shows that pound is getting stronger and is appreciating against US dollar. And that's why I always say, whenever you are trading, make sure that you always combine the fundamentals and technicals together. Don't just get the news and then say, oh, so they want to come up with this 3-tier lockdown, so that means that it should be bearish. No, pay attention to everything. Everything must there must be confluence with the fundamentals and technicals. And then also pay attention to the higher time frames. Switching over to the higher time frame, the weekly, right? We said earlier, right? If you look very well, based on support and resistance, this here is a flip zone. We call this the flip zone. That is a zone that has acted as support and resistance. Here we had this area act as resistance, support, support, resistance, support, resistance. Didn't quite get here. And then look at over here. This now seems to be acting as support. This is what we have here. If you look very well for the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, based on this weekly time frame, the last 3-4 cables, the last 3-4 candlesticks, you can see that they have been merged together, and then we've been having this consolidation with respect to the weekly time frame on pounds. But of course, this will show even more on the lower time frames. But now, as long as, pay attention to what I'm about to say, as long as the market is above this flip zone, the buyers still have it. The buyers still have it. So for me, I am long biased this week. Today is the Monday, 5th of October, as we said, but I am long biased this week. And then, of course, if we cross forward to the lower time frame, you'll notice that on the 1 hour, you can see that the market is breaking out now. So as it's breaking out now, I would personally be looking forward to a pullback to this area to push higher, or it pulls up some more, a pullback to this area to push higher again. So of course, we're going to look at this throughout the week, and then let's see what we get. Only if we have a great upset, and then we have this heavy tank, right? Don't forget the weekly time frames, the higher time frames are very key, very, very important as well for us to pay attention to. Right now, when it comes to the Euro USD, let's start from the higher time frames. We know, of course, when it comes to Euro and pounds, which is the EU and then the UK with respect to the Brexit, it's not good for either of them. And of course, the coronavirus cases, the numbers seem to be surging again, which of course is on the negative. So we need to look at the fundamentals, even look at the sentiment. What is the risk tone with respect to these currencies? What's the risk tone with respect to this currency pairs? Once you have a good idea, then you will now know what most likely might happen. If you look at what we have here, based on this Euro USD daily time frame, right? We had, first of all, we had the market range over a long period of time from the ending of December up to about July period, when we now had our breakout of that area. From breakout now, you notice that the market now formed this channel here. As we form this channel here, as we can see, the market seems to now, after a few days now, a few days back, that was this September that we just passed, we had the breakout, and then price is going back to retest. And with all things being equal with respect to the surge in the coronavirus numbers in Europe, and of course, with respect to what's happening with Brexit, we're expecting a bearish tone here, and we would like to see the market push further down. And don't forget, we said it's always good for us to combine the fundamentals and the technicals together. And then if you look as well, we have a fib level here. Let me explain this fib level quickly. Let me clean up this chart. Let me explain this fib level quickly. If you look at the weekly time frame now, if you look at the weekly time frame, we had this big, that was from 2 weeks ago. We had this big, massive drop down where it broke out of that channel that we saw earlier. Now, as it broke out, right, we are now expecting the market to retrace probably 38.2 or 50 or maybe even 61.8, as we can see here. It's better seen on the daily or 4 hours time frame. Now, clearly, we can see that price has now gotten to what we can call like a maximum pain level on the fib, 61.8. And this is the level where when you short, you expect to make a whole lot from this. And this is from the daily time frame. You can short it back to the lows from this period here, and then see where to break out even some more, right? Or break out, retest that area again and drop further down, right? And this is on the higher time frame. It's always good for us to check on the higher time frames and also check on the lower time frames as well. So this is what we have over here. And then when we cross over to the lower time frames, which is this on the daily, on the hourly, you can see that price has broken out of this box area here. We had a little fake out here. This, I don't think, is going to be a little fake out. So probably I would like to see something like this happen, right? And don't forget, this 61.8 is a key area. So the shorts are still in place, but then we still need to be careful. So this means that we could be having mixed signals from here, from this EU. So we have to, first of all, be careful with it, pay attention to the higher time frames, the daily, come over to the lower, and make sure that they merge, make sure that there's confluence between the two of them. Now, quickly, don't want this to be way too long. Quickly, based on gold, right? We had, a bullish run, right? We had a bullish run for a while now based on the coronavirus and based on the risk tone appetite, right? When it comes to the risk tone, where the risk was off, you'll notice that for the gold as a safe haven, a lot of investors will be buying, will be going long on it, and that's why we had this long run, and then we had this pullback here, and then we now have this area here, 1865 area, as a key support area, and the market came back to this area a few days ago and seems to be reacting to it. But now we box this area here. We box this area here, and I'm going to show you why, right? If you cross over, don't forget the higher time frames are key. If you cross over to the higher time frames, you will be able to easily see this big bearish candle, which initially broke out from this area here, but as it broke out, it now rushed back in. As it broke out, it rushed back in. So this big bearish candle that we can see here, the market seems to be retracing to about 50 to about 61.8 fib level. Let's draw a fib level on that now. That should be around here. So if you look very well, it's around the 50, approaching the 61.8 fib level here. So this is also a good one for us to look for sell positions here. And of course, we still have some untested levels as support. This was first of all resistance, but is yet to be tested as support. So let's see whether the market can tank, and then we'll be looking for short opportunities here, right? Everything at the end of the day boils down to your analysis based on the fundamentals and the technicals. And then when it comes to the crude oil here, after this lockdown period that caused excess supply, we saw the crude oil crash, and then with the ease of lockdown, it's appreciated. But then for about 3-4 months now, it has been ranging around 44 to about $32 per barrel. And one thing I'm going to say that I've always been saying is that if we have lockdown in some major parts of the world again, because people are speculating a second wave of the coronavirus, most likely we might have another tank of this crude oil. So we need to also pay attention to this. And the crude oil also, even if you don't trade crude oil, but you can use the Canadian dollars to place trades on it, because Canada, they're heavy when it comes to exporting of crude oil, right? So basically, if it's going to tank, it's going to also affect the Canadian dollars. I could expect the Canadian dollars to weaken, and then of course we can sell it against other currencies in the market. So this was just a quick one, right, to explain to us what's happening in the market with respect to Euro USD, Pound USD, gold, and crude oil. Also taking into consideration the fundamentals, the sentiment from Forex Factory News, from Forex Live, BK Assets, or any other place that you can get all of this information from, right? giving us a heads up as to what's happening in the market. So this was just a quick one just to explain further to us. And of course, we would do an update just to explain further what's happening in the market. If you have any questions as usual, feel free to ask. Don't hesitate, ask so that we could all learn together. Thank you for your time, and trade safely, ensure to use your stop loss, and of course, calculate your risk appropriately. Thank you and goodbye for now. Goodbye.